Timer's on. Here we go. First thing I do, I want to make sure that I'm nailing roughly the dimensions of the frame that I'm gonna need. So this frame is not a square, it's a rectangle, so it's a little bit more elongated. And then immediately I go to work putting in the dark values. I don't wait a second because I don't have a second. I'm going and trying to put in all the dark moments that I see exactly where they belong. So here we have shadow. And what I'm going for is this needs to be extremely simple, extremely reduced, and it doesn't have to be detailed at all. Okay? So this is the composition broadly. Now I can take my eraser and start to add some more specificity with regards to the big shapes. Now, I actually may have done it even smaller than I'm used to doing it, which is gonna provide me with a challenge, so I'm not opposed to it. But then that means that if I want to get more precise about the shapes, I'm gonna use this other kneadable eraser. Now, what I'm trying to do is arrive at roughly 4 values. I don't need more than that. Or I mean, I need more than that, of course, for the Vermeer, but I can't hope to achieve more than that on this very, very simple paper. Okay, so I'm just putting in these big values where they belong, trying to capture the essence of the composition as a whole. Not looking at details, just very large shapes, large values. How much time do I have, Carol? Doesn't work if you don't tell me.
13 minutes, sorry.
13 minutes, thank you. Okay, so now let's see. I'm gonna start trying to put some more marks to make these shapes more specific. So I'm using very, very simple straight lines, not hoping to catch any of the complexity because I don't think I can. And then trying to position all these things that I'm seeing. The best tool that I'm using for this exercise is squinting. I'm squinting my eyes pretty fiercely at the reference. And when you squint at something, it automatically reduces the amount of details that you see. You start to see it very simply. And for this exercise, that's an incredible benefit. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting the negative space to look correct. And in this case, you can use your pinky to soften edges up, to unify some areas. That's totally okay. And now I'm going to make all of this not perfectly white because it shouldn't be. And just pick out a few moments, almost like a rhythm of light moments where I see that it's necessary. And then over here we have some glittering moments in the shadow. I'm not looking at these as objects. This is a very, very abstract exercise. This is about seeing these shapes as completely abstract entities. I'm not thinking about this as a person. I'm thinking about what is the dance that's happening between these different shapes that are populating this surface. How many? 11 minutes. Okay. Okay, we can do this, people. We can do this. So when it's 11 minutes to do a Vermeer, there's no time to waste, as they say. I think this needs to be a little larger.
Are you just using the same piece of charcoal for all of it so far?
No, I have this thin one, and I was also using a thick one. And the thick one is actually preferable in most cases, but in this instance, I just drew the frame so small that the thick one is even too clumsy for my taste. But for the next one, I'll draw the frame a little bit larger, and then I could get away with using the thicker charcoal. So here, what's very important to be measuring is distances from the edge of the frame. That's extraordinarily useful. to understand how large or how small something needs to be in the format. And as you can see, putting down a dark value is a very straightforward process. I just control my values based on the pressure that I'm applying to my paper, right? If I have more pressure, it's just gonna go darker. Less pressure, it's gonna stay lighter. And I don't think you can expect to have more than roughly 4 values, you could say, like perfectly paperish, which is our white, despite the fact that this paper is not perfectly white, and then something very dark and something middle. That's like the dark is dark, a middle, maybe 2 middles, and then paper. That's pretty much it. So this process is also very beneficial for learning about reduction. I'm going to switch to a middle kind of tool. There we go. It's going to help me get a better definition here. How much time do I have?
8.5.
8.5. Okay. That's important to do because sometimes a lot of charcoal gets cluttered up on our paper and we can puff on it in order to rescue the paper from the abyss of that powder, because it becomes extremely difficult to notice what you're actually doing when that powder is there. And if I were to try to pinpoint all the different objects that are happening here on the table, I would be completely lost. There's way too much going on. So I'm squinting super hard until I can't even see what it is that I'm looking at, and just trying to respond. Where is there dark? Where is there light? That's the only thing that I'm seeing. Where is the dark? Where is the light? And if I'm going to be successful, what we're going to see, we're not going to know if there's bread on the table or anything, but we're going to feel like there's a figure standing by a window. We're going to feel the gesture that she has. And mostly, the most important thing that we're trying to capture is the feeling of light. 7? Okay. Good. Okay. Whew. Not too bad, not too bad. I've actually done this pretty quickly, so I have the luxury of trying to make it more precise, which is great. You don't always have a chance to do that. And it feels very stressful, as it should. Okay, polishing up these shapes. And you understand how reductive I need to be. Of course, with Vermeer, there's a million values in this painting, but now I can't afford to shoot for all these different values. I can only get very, very few. So it means that I have to be extremely, I have to compress a lot of information. And that's also a very important exercise. Learning how to edit things out.
5.5. מה הנקודה הכי בהירה?
הנקודה הכי בהירה היא בצווארון שלה, אבל חושב שחירבתי את זה כבר. החלב די בהיר, הדבר הזה פה די בהיר, אבל הקטע פה זה ש... תני לי לענות לך על זה אחרי שיגמר לי הזמן, אוקיי? אין בעיה. זה באמת, זו שאלה יותר מעניינת ממה שחשבת שהיא, זו שאלה מאוד מעניינת. 5 minutes? Okay. אוקיי. כמה highlighting פה על הבקבוק. זה אפילו יותר ממה שבדרך כלל אנחנו אמורים להיות מסוגלים לעשות. This is me going slightly beyond because I have the luxury of time on my side. ומה שאני עושה עם הזרת זה כמו, אפשר גם להשתמש בזה, you can use your pinky both to smudge, which is something that I would not recommend ordinarily if you were working on a high quality paper for charcoal, but also to remove charcoal. If you just tap the paper, you're going to find that your pinky carries some charcoal with it, which is super beneficial. The hat is lighter than I have it. Let's try to do that. How much time do I have? Carol? Did anybody hear that? It's very, very weak. Something is wrong with the audio.
3.
Oh, 3. Okay. That I heard. Okay. What? What's wrong with the audio?
I don't know.
How long?
23. 2:23. This one.
Okay, 2.5. Got it. Okay. Closing in on it. Barely 2 minutes to go.
2.
Oh boy. This is coming to an end.
One.
Uh-oh. How long?
1:10.
Okay. Last minute, people. Last minute.
$87.
50 seconds. Stress is real.
$40.
40 seconds. This is when all the mistakes happen.
30. $20.
Ah.
$10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
Done.